If you're feeling lonely right now, you're not alone. Hi everybody, this is Irene at Lifestyle Over 60. Today we're going to be talking about loneliness, what it is, how to combat it, and what to do if you're feeling lonely coming up. I thought I'd bring up the topic of loneliness today because it's the holidays. If you can see behind me, we have the Christmas tree going, and it is currently a week before Christmas right now. And a lot of people are feeling exceptionally lonely. I don't know if you are, but if you are and you've tuned into this video, then perhaps you are. So I wanted to talk a little bit today about what it is and what to do if you're feeling lonely. So what is loneliness? And the definition is feeling unwanted, unloved, alone, state of mind. So loneliness is involuntary, okay? So if you feel like you're alone because nobody wants you, because you've been unfriended, because there's something wrong with you, then it's going to be a really awful feeling. You're going to feel isolated, and it's one of the worst feelings that you can have because as a social animal and an animal that needs other people like a tribe, if you were going to be ousted from your tribe and left alone in the desert, you would probably die. So the need to be with other people, the need to be a social animal is within us. It's in our DNA. And so the feeling of loneliness, of not being wanted or not being loved, is universal. And apparently more than half of all Americans feel lonely every single day. I thought that was a huge number. More than half of all Americans feel some kind of loneliness every single day. Dude, that's not great. Whatever reason, the holidays make loneliness worse. And I think it's probably because, everybody seems to be having fun and they're at parties and they're with their families or their friends. And if you weren't invited to parties and you don't have friends or you don't have family and you're seeing all the merriment around you and you're just alone, it can turn up the feelings of loneliness that might otherwise not be as intense as they are now. And some of the research on loneliness tells us that the risk of premature death from loneliness is 26% higher. All right, so if you're lonely, you have a 26% higher chance of dying prematurely than if you are not. That's pretty big. It's also a risk for anxiety, depression, stroke, heart disease, and dementia, loneliness. So let's talk a minute about the difference between loneliness and solitude, because they're very different things. Loneliness is the sense of being alone, unloved, unwanted, and that it's not voluntary. It's not your choice. Okay, solitude, on the other hand, is being alone by choice. It's something that you want. You see, it's the same thing. You're alone, right? But it's your state of mind with it. If in your mind you're alone, but you're alone because no one loves you or wants you or cares about you, that's painful. If you're alone because you crave alone time, because you're creative, because you need time to recharge, because you don't like being around people that much all the time, then that's a choice. And there's a whole different emotion that goes along with being alone when you want to be and being alone because you feel like you have to be. So if you're feeling particularly lonely, and they talk a lot about loneliness and seniors, that we as seniors will have more negative health consequences and just be worse off if we spend too much time alone. That's what the research says. I don't know. I mean, I think if you're a person that loves their solitude, loves being alone, doesn't feel left out or unloved just because you'd like to be alone, then I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And I doubt it would raise your risk of anything if your state of mind is such that you're in solitude versus lonely. You see what I mean? So if I feel lonely, and I do sometimes, I am married and I do have people in my life, so I don't feel it often, but when I do, and I used to live alone when I was single, I remember feeling lonely a lot, and especially on the weekends. For some reason, Sunday was a really hard day for me because it seemed like that was family day and everyone was out having fun with other people and I was alone, and it made me feel unwanted, all those things, unloved. Yeah, I hated it. So when I did that, I felt lonely. I would make myself go out, get out of the house. I recommend that. Get out of the house. And what I used to love to do is I would go to Starbucks and write. I used to journal extensively. So I would just take a notepad and a pen and go to a Starbucks or someplace like it. Didn't have Starbucks back then, but a place like that. And get coffee and be around people, see people, say hello, watch people, feel like I'm out in the public in some way. I mean, you could just go to a bookstore, you could go to the market and talk to the checker, just be around and interact with people in some way. And it does tend to take the edge off the loneliness when you get back home. If you find yourself feeling lonely a lot, then there are things that you can do. You can go out, go outside. I don't mean go to a club and pick up strangers. I mean, just go outside, take a walk, say hello to people, go to Starbucks, go out, I mean, people will tell you join a club, something that you're interested in. You can certainly do that. But a lot of the times I've found people who are very lonely are shy and introverted and not club joiners in general. I don't know if you find social media helps you with your loneliness or not, but if it does, I think social media can be a really nice way to connect with people without actually going to see them or being with them. So if it helps you, social media can actually really help you feel less lonely. And that's it for this video. I hope it helped you in some way. If it did, please like and subscribe. And just know that if you feel lonely, you're not weird or strange or in any way defective. You're completely normal. We all feel lonely sometimes. Life is really hard. And I don't know what you believe about what we're doing here, how we got here, or where we go after, but I like to think this is school. I like to think that when we die, we go home, and that this is just school. We're just kind of here to learn lessons. And so when you think of life like that, loneliness is just a lesson to learn, and it's not more than that. It's not serious. So that's it. If you're watching in real time, happy holidays to you, and I'll see you again really soon.